Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Duck Chatter. Today we're going to talk about picking a timber hole. A lot of you guys hunt in the timber, and myself, I've hunted in it for, I can't even remember how many years, but a lot of years. And I've made every rookie mistake there is to make. At one time, I would just get so aggravated I'd leave. But what I'm going to do is and I did learn from my mistakes, but sometimes it took a little while longer than others. Some people are smarter than others. But anyhow, I'm going to tell you how to pick a timber hole. Everybody has a means of marking a hole now, either Onyx or something like that, with, using satellites. But when you mark a hole, you want to mark a hole that's going to be good for a specific wind. Okay, the other thing you want to do is you want to mark a hole with the water depth, because a lot of the holes are going to be next to the river. And like our White River, where we hunt, we use the reading at Augusta. So 26 foot is flood stage at Augusta, and when it gets up to 32 feet, it's 6 foot deeper. So a hole that you hunt at 26 foot and you go back when the river is 32 foot, you're either going to have to hunt out of a boat or get wet, one or the other. So, when I pick a hole, I like to pick a hole that's got some low trees on one end, so the ducks can have an easy way to get in. A lot of times, if the trees are taller on this end than they are at this end, they won't come over these trees to land. They'll try, and then it's not easy for them, so they'll go on. Every now and then you can get a group, but your percentages of getting them in are a lot less. But if you've got low at this end and they're landing this way, they're going to come right in most of the time.
Kill it.
So keep that in mind. You got to remember where the wind direction is, mark it for that particular hole. You got to mark the water depth again for that particular hole. A lot of times the weatherman will lie to you, and there's nothing you can do about that. You just have to make the best of what you can. But the way I like to set up, let's just say that there's a west wind. What I like to get is on the south side of the hole, so the ducks aren't landing exactly towards me. You know what I'm saying? They'll be coming in. I'm going to be on the south side, and this is going to be west over here. They're coming in this way. So you want to get to the west end of the west hole for the best shooting. Now, you can get on the west end of the hole. Sometimes it's feasible, sometimes it's not. But there's, several other things to remember. When you're calling at ducks and they're coming in and you keep calling at them, if you're right in front of them, they're going to see you, and they're not going to finish quite as well. They're going to go down about a little ways, and they're going to pick up. If you're off to the side, you can still quack a little bit as long as you're not exposed so they can't see you. Another thing to keep in mind is you always have to stay in the shade. The shade is probably as important as anything, because ducks see any kind of reflections. Anyhow, a couple of more things you want to keep in mind is how strong the wind is. If it's a real strong wind, you're going to have a bigger hole for the ducks to get down in. They're not as likely to come in a small hole if it's real windy. So you might have a windy day hole, and just keep that in your back pocket. Another thing I want to talk about is early season, middle season, late season ducks. Early season, the ducks will just about come in any hole. Probably the bigger the better, and you'll probably get more ducks to come in with a bigger hole. So always keep your big holes ready for the first part of the season. In the middle part of the season, you might move to a little smaller hole and use it. It's going to be what happens is they get to thinking it's too conspicuous, and it's kind of hard to realize. But if it's too easy to get in and it's later in the season, middle of the season, the ducks are going to probably fly around it 2 or 3 times and then not come in. Now, early season they will. Middle season they will sometimes. Late season they won't. They're not going to come into a big hole very often. They're smarter than that. They've been through the school of hard knocks. So let's talk about picking a late season hole. You want a littler hole, a lot smaller, and you also want buckbrush around it if you can find buckbrush, and a good place to hide. And you're going to do a lot better with late season ducks in a little small hole, one that's tight and doesn't look conspicuous. Keep those things in mind, and if there's anything else that y'all are interested in, and I could use my experience to help, well, let us know, and we'll talk about it on another time. Anyhow, see you next time on Duck Chatter.